Thank you, Riv. Crazy game.
Oh, yeah.
Exciting game. So much to talk about because so much was happening, and it's going to be kind of tough to pinpoint why the game actually fell the way it did, right? And so the first thing I want to approach is CLG's team composition, because it was a double AD comp, but with kind of a unique twist, pulling in the Rumble and the Nidalee behind those two champions.
And so the Rumble and Nidalee made people stay honest with their itemization builds. We saw Keith do a Banshee's Veil instead of armor stacking. Like, you couldn't armor stack against this team. The other unique thing was the Braum Q into 3 ranged guys that can proc it pretty darn quick, which would give them some pick potential. But with all of that, it made them a ball of Jinx death, which was a weird thing that they almost managed to play around. It was a new twist on the double AD composition that we hadn't seen, and CLG almost made work.
Yeah, the double AP, double AD support tank front line. It's a very weak front line, and it's kind of like this team composition that Team Liquid made for themselves can kind of run straight through that and get to your double AD and your double AP, and then they rely on Zhonya's and positioning, and the ball was just a bad position to be in against the Jinx. So I think the Jinx pickup was probably the best pickup for an AD carry you could have possibly had on Team Liquid's side.
They also really only had one source of peel, right?
Yep.
So the Zed didn't have very much
RTC,
trouble getting in, using his ult and getting back out without getting popped. And that was something that Kobe had kind of pinpointed during the game, was he was using it on cooldown for harass. And we were joking here on the analyst desk that essentially he was using it as an ace in the hole from Caitlyn, right? Put some damage down because you're just like, hey, I'll give you a reason to leave the turret so we can take it.
I mean, I don't disapprove of that because they only have one exhaust, so he just uses his ultimate on cooldown, and then the second and third time he uses it, they don't have exhaust to deal with it. So he blows a QSS, then they actually start the fight 30 seconds later.
Yeah. So Team Liquid side, they build this comp around the Jinx. The Jinx, as you mentioned, was a great pickup. Great pickup for them. We saw Quas, Riv pointed it out, 9th champion in 9 games. Different champions. That's an incredible champion pool. You know, whether or not he found success on all of them, right, is one thing. But the fact that the team has the confidence in him to put him on 9 different champions and say, we're cool with this, we can play with it, we're comfortable playing with this in an LCS match, is incredible.
Yeah, and let's just be clear, like, this was not a team composition victory. Team Liquid didn't necessarily have the objective control or the turret pushing that CLG did, and that's why we saw such a back and forth game. They also needed to be very grouped up in those team fights. They couldn't make any mistakes. It was a super entertaining game here, and obviously the Morgana from Quas was a huge part in their team fight victories more than anything else.
To your point of the team fight victories, let's go into our first replay. We're going to go 33 minutes into the game. Mid lane, we're going to pull that up onto your screen right now.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing about this one, this was actually a fight that Team Liquid wants to have prototypically in the mid game. We can actually roll this right now and watch the zone control of the Morgana and the Zed and how easy this makes life for Keith. He has one Rumble ultimate. That's all he has to deal with the whole time. The Black Shielded Zed plus the flashing Quas ultimate on 4. CLG literally just has to run away. Never can they get in range of the Jinx. I don't think Keith got hit by a single auto attack that entire fight. And that's what the zoning potential did of the Zed plus the Morgana flying in there.
Yeah, Keith was having a really crazy game. I was sitting here, I was talking to Jad about it. I'm like, Keith, I don't know how good you are because he's losing lane at, like, down in CS. Then they're picking like team fights where he's not there. And then when he does show up, he does prototypical AD carry things.
Yeah.
But he's just like, I'm constantly auto-attacking. There's almost never a time where he isn't getting his damage off in an optimal way. Sometimes he wants to go a little too hard and the backline goes away before he does. But like overall, I think Keith does what Team Liquid needs in an AD carry.
It ultimately leads into this really strange discussion of, like, was Team Liquid putting Piglet in positions to succeed, or were they playing around Piglet too much? Because clearly an AD carry can succeed on Team Liquid, and it's Keith. And it's not like he's doing it through amazing individual outplays. He's making some nice plays in team fights. He's sitting in the back. He's building 90% crit and then popping double lift, which was a huge turning point in this game. It's a fascinating storyline to think about because they have won so many games now with Keith. I think they're 5-1, including beating the top 2 teams in the North American LCS with him.
I do love that point of the 90% crit because it's fantastic itemization, right? In knowing that you're against 2 other AD carries that are low armor, right? So essentially he's saying, I don't need that much armor penetration. Or I don't necessarily need the lifesteal to deal with a tank who's diving in on me. I just need to crit more.
Yeah.
And with the idea, or with the recent change to Phantom Dancer now having 35% crit to compensate for Edge having less, he ends up at 90% crit. We saw it manifest in the 3 crits on Double Lift. It lit just vaporizing.
Yeah, we were watching. It was like, did he get really lucky with it?
That's a triple
that's
crit.
actually what you're supposed to do.
No, that's a double Phantom Dancer. That's what that is. Let's go to the final fight, right? Because I want to just look at, we were giving, there's been criticism of Morgana for not being fantastic in the late game in terms of damage output. She's got 1 spell rotation, and then she's kind of out of the fight for a bit. Black shields were on point, though, but let's look at the zone control that happens when you have a Morgana that's this big in the late game.
Yeah, just Quas's positioning and the way he gets into these fights is absolutely beautiful. And the way Keith follows up, too, Keith is basically worth 2 or 3 AD carries, because when you crit with the rocket, it crits everything around it. So he's like triple critting the entire team fight and doing so much damage.
Zed was so quick in and out there.
He's in and out. He's immediately out of fight. And then Quas with the follow-up here is just so beautiful when he jumps into this fight.
Flash ult on
Look
4
at the damage on that. Oh, and Double Lift is like, I'm going to cleanse it, and immediately eats a Dark Binding to the face.
Yeah, at this point he has the Rylai's as well, so that added slow on top of the Jano allowing the mobility for the Jinx to really get in for the pot shots.
So here's the thing too, is I don't disagree that Morgana's damage is relatively low. Like if she's a mid laner, she's not in the higher end of things. And that's a very squishy team composition that CLG has. So if you're against like 2 tanks, Morgana is not the optimal choice there.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to feel very weak against those.
But as a top laner, it works out so much better.
Yes.
And that fight and the one we showed earlier, in that 52-minute game, were the 2 fights that Team Liquid played just right. Like, when they play like that and COG has not been able to split push lanes or beat them in a rotation or beat them to an objective, is the win condition for Team Liquid. And they optimized on it twice. One to get control of the game, and the second time to end it.
Yeah, absolutely. A great showing by Team Liquid today. They have now beaten the top 2 teams in TSM and CLG
really awesome.
in the recent past, rather. So fantastic to see that from them. Interested to see if they continue to climb the ladder. Now we're going to sweep the champions off the rift, but meet us back here in 3.5 for our final match of the day, Team 8 versus Team Dignitas. Don't go anywhere.
Woo! 2K!
It's like give it your all game. All of it?
More like this is a whatever game.
Right. No, it's like give it your all game. There's 2 types of games. There's the must win, and then there's the give it your all. This is the give it your all.
With the ulti on, let's trade one back onto him and will do so. A lot of casualties on both sides. Quas jumps on by Double It. 4 kills to 4 this game. Keith trades one back.
That.
I'm teleport.
I'm on. Down. Rex side. I'm fine. Ready, Rumble ulti. Yeah, Rumble ulti. Yeah, watch Jinx. Janna's dead. Kill Jinx. No flash on Jinx.
Double though gets the kill on Rex side. They're going to trade back one as Tristana has fallen. Afternoon locked up as well. Makes it 2. No 3 deaths for CLG. Keith on the chase.
Double.
Yeah, nice. I got him.
We get in. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Team Liquid. Have they really broken the curse